And here they are to start us off.
Yes, Ukraine, Maharita Dushova and Diana Chelestyuk, who has a bronze already at 1 meter.
With these straightforward dives, it is so important to have everything so precise.
Great Britain diving second, Millie Fowler and Millie Hafferty. Millie Fowler on the right there, Hafferty who's just 15, both from Sheffield, know each other well.
Millie Hafferty, the diver closest to us now, actually has her 16th birthday today. So what a way to celebrate. They'll be hoping for a medal. That would be a pretty good birthday present.
Millie Fowler's was only a couple of days ago. Both 5'1", so really well matched. Another 46.80 there opening. Next to dive, it's Italy, Catalano, Gonzaga and Granelli. You could see straight away from this angle the different angles of the entry position of the legs there. One in, one out. More of a V between the two of them. .36.60. Modest synchronization, better than the half the execution. Poland represented by Dominika Bak and Kaja Scherschek.
Skurzak already had a good warm-up. She made it into the final for the 1 meter, finishing 8th. Now she gets the chance to compete again. This is a straight final in this synchronized 3 meter springboard.
Good synchronization marks. Decent start for them. Boric and Tomiek. Boric much taller at 5'7", Tomiek
Well, it didn't look like the height difference was an issue there.
might take a couple of dives for the marks really to start to separate out. Good synchronization there in the 8s, 46.20. Germany, Saskia Oettinghaus and Luisa Stauczynski. The silver medalist on the right there, the fairer of the two.
Performing a forward dive in pike. As we keep saying, the first 2 dives are limited to a difficulty of 2.0.
Stauczynski is a very experienced competitor, even at 18. Their first European Junior Championships were back in 2011, and she won a gold in the younger age group on the platform. .45.60. Now the Swiss team, Bart and Kokus. They'd have a choice of 3 languages, of course, in Switzerland to do their counting. Might have had to have a discussion before they decided on one. Good straight entry. Too much wrong there.
They are happy with that. Good team fist bump over that 46.8.
Now, the Russians, Chernik and Polikova.
Polikova, already a gold medalist from the 1 meter. And her teammate, sorry, Polikova, the bronze medalist, her teammate, Netrasova, the gold medalist, who isn't competing in this synchronized event. Good start for the Russian pair, 48.6. A less experienced team compared to some of the others. Stoudenherz competed in the 1 meter, finishing 26th. And neither of these two have been in a final to date at these European Games. This being their first appearance.
Quite uneven, those marks. And finally, Belarus. Bandzik and Sheshka.
Both of these athletes, the first time they've competed at the European Games. They haven't had the luxury of the 1 meter springboard to warm up with. And that is their first dive of the competition.
.45.60. Again, a lot of these marks will be pretty close because of the same degree of difficulty as our first leaderboard. Russia, not surprisingly, at the top, but Ukraine matching them. Poland not far behind, then Great Britain, and you can see there's very little separating, only 2 points separating 8 teams. Italy falling behind already. Ukraine, Pushova and Shelestyuk. Another dive worth 2.0, forward 1.5 somersault, cranks up after this round.
Shelestyuk will be carrying the confidence forwards from her bronze medal in the individual. Hopefully sharing that with Dusova. Great synchronization.
Fowler and Hafferty representing Great Britain. Everybody in the British team will have medal ambitions after the opening couple of days. They were 1.8 back. It's a lot for the judges to really get their teeth into when assessing these performances.
For Hafferty, this is her first event of these games. We saw Millie Fowler.
Look at that, I say, 3 9s. That's a real response. Catalano, Gonzaga and Granelli had an opening dive that was rather a level below the rest, so they've got a bit of catch-up to do here.
Well, they were more synchronized than their opening dive, that's for certain.
Much better. That will settle them down, I think. 3/8 in particular encouraging for the 2 Italian girls. Poland started off with a very nice opening dive. Now they've got a forward 1.5 somersault, 1 twist. Strapping out there.
Strapping is quite often as much preventative as it is curing. If there's a slight niggle or weakness, then the medical professionals will use it to stop anything getting that bit worse or turning into a real problem.
Well, it's good. 42. Boric and Tomiek from Croatia. They had a good start. Both from Zagreb, 18 and 16. So many great angles from our camera work here that we really do see every little chip in the armour.
It looks like the judges did too when it comes to synchronicity.
Just adjusting the tension on that board there. That was Ertinghaus, Stauczynski. They'll be looking to pull up a little, 45.60, but as I said, the opening marks fairly concentrated together.
Going all the way down to the bottom. House really went deep on that dive.
Creates synchronization and both exactly the same execution mark. Next up, Bart and Kokus from Switzerland. Quite light on the board there, not a massive knees bend and thrust up. It's the quality of the execution that held them back a little to 42. Russian Federation, again leading from the front, as they often tend to do. Have a slightly different approach down the board, but once they get into that hurdle, that last big jump on the board, they were pretty well together.
So after these dives, it will be round 3. But the difficulty starts to ramp up. We'll see the pairs stretching themselves.
Down 1. The British girls' belting second dive has lifted them to the top of the pile at the moment. Austria, Roth and Staudenherz.
Forward 1.5 somersault. Their last dive of 2.0 difficulty, and then things will get tougher.
Okay, 40-80. Banchik and Sheshka from Belarus dive 10th. 7th in ranking. Back 1.5 somersault, half a twist.
When it comes to synchronization, you can sometimes even hear whether they're in time or not. And that's a little bit of a giveaway sometimes. They're not hitting the water at exactly the same time. You will notice it.
(40-20). Busy second round with these restricted dives, and Great Britain has launched itself up to the top of that leaderboard with that cracking 51-point dive, and Russia down a bit, Ukraine pressing hard, Germany, Poland tucked in behind. That's the race for the medals. Well, we've had the opening jabs in the first 2 rounds, the contestants getting a feel for the contest. Now they can start throwing the punches in round 3. The degree of difficulty ups. This is where the experience can come in, and the talent. 2.7 inward 2.5 somersault for the Ukrainian team, who were pressing in 3rd.
A lot of strapping on these athletes. The most strapping we're seeing in this final is across the shoulders and the back, taking a lot of strain. But these two, even trying to synchronize their tape.
62.37. An average start, it was fine, but the second dive was terrific. 2.8 back, 2.5 somersault there. Routine, not as high tariffed as some, not as high tariffed as the Russians, so it's got to be good. Back 2.5 somersault then. As good as the previous one, that's for sure. Entries quite as tidy, and they dropped a bit there, 56.28.
There's still 2 dives left to go for the Ukrainians, the Brits. 3 for the rest of the field.
Italy up next, down in 10th. Catalano, Gonzaga and Granelli. (17 and 15 years of age. No great pedigree they bring into this European Games. Be quick through the spins in that inward 2.5 somersault, worth 2.7.
Just struggling to get the extension on the legs before completion of the entry. That'll affect the execution marks, and it does. Synchronization okay, total of 50.22.
Poland next to dive, back and Skrzek. Just 2.4 here, forward 2.5 somersault piked.
This is the lowest difficulty of third dive we've seen so far, and it meant they really needed to get it just right, and it didn't quite happen. .46.08. Synchronization down in the 6s.
Croatia. Bolic, Tomiek. The little and large act here. Forward 2.5 somersault. They're down in the 2.4s as well.
Synchronization better than execution, 50.4, their best score yet.
Now the German team have upped the stakes to 2.9. Ertinghaus and Stavchinski. One of their stronger efforts. They were down in 4th and looking to challenge, but that wasn't flawless by any means, not disastrous. Just a bit untidy on the entries. Still got 63.51 because of the extra tariff. Puts them above Great Britain. Balt and Kokus from Switzerland.
Well, it sounds like they've opted for French as their common language, the Swiss duo.
Not in unison about too much here. Dives themselves. Just see going a little bit offline there on the left. Trying to pull out and get a parallel entry. 56.70. Now, can the Russian team respond? Slipping back to second, but Ukraine and Germany both putting on the pressure. Russia cannot let the pace drop. 3.0 for the back 2.5 somersault. Very quick. But was it clean?
Not the cleanest entry we've seen from the Russia pairing. And execution is a reflection of that. Synchronization much better though.
What a massive difference, 4 5s and then 8s. So you could still get a decent synchronization mark, even though the dives weren't of, well, they just weren't much cop, basically. Roth and Staudenherz of Austria. Not in the medal hunt. Trying to get those ponytails in sync. Must be a challenge.
There's one of the divers actually tucks her ponytail into her swimsuit. And that must just be a personal preference thing, wanting it flying out behind.
Execution marks not over grand. Just 10 contestants here. Competition really whizzes along compared to the long hauls of the preliminary rounds. Belarus completing our third set of dives. Wait and a 2-4 to end. Banchik is only 13, a real youngster.
Great experience for an athlete so young. If these European Games stay as a junior event, she'll still only be 17 when they come back around.
Year-old on the right. Well, it keeps on changing, doesn't it? Ukraine now in the lead. Very close, 1.26. Great Britain right up there, less than a point. Russia now slipping down out of that medal position. Could change again, though. It's been very, very inconsistent.
Well, we're just past the halfway marker